If you love watches, take a trip to Wetherby and visit Bowcliffe Hall. Well, welcome to episode 1 of Watch the Watch. I mean, who ever thought of that? Seriously? I'm blaming you for it. Yeah. Jonathan Scatchard, I'm sure you know who he is if you've seen any of the previous videos before. One of the foremost experts in watches in the United Kingdom, and he's brought some really interesting pieces here. We're going to be filming 5 of these episodes. And Jonathan, you're going to test all of our skills. And you don't have to be a watch expert to take part in this. If you like antiques, vintage items or watches, you'll like it. So Jonathan's going to tell you all about a certain watch, and then you're going to get a chance to value it, to test your valuing skills. And this is an interesting one. Jonathan, tell us, what are we looking at?
We often get asked, what's the sleeper? What should we put our money into? What's not quite getting where it should be? And I think this, the IWC Da Vinci, it's one of the most complicated watches you could ever buy. So there is an issue that servicing costs a little bit with it. But honestly, if this was a Patek Philippe, we'd be into 6 figures easily.
Okay, and a Rolex?
Yeah, with Rolex, I've never made anything as sophisticated as this.
No.
It is unbelievable. So it's a mechanical watch. Self-winding. Yeah. It tells you the day, the date, the century.
Yeah.
Full 12-hour chronograph. It knows when the leap year is. So there's one piece of that mechanism that moves once a year.
That's mad, isn't it?
It is. And on that 4th year, it knows to skip one day. I mean, it is absolutely mind-blowing.
So this is called a complicated watch for,
yes.
for very good reasons.
Yeah,
and what about IWC themselves as a company?
Yeah, really good history with them. They're from the German-speaking part of Switzerland, Schaffhausen, which made them very independent, because you think of the Swiss watchmakers are all sort of in Geneva, tend to speak French, whereas this was very much, the Schaffhausen were very proud of the fact they're on the banks of the River Rhine, so right. they had this independence to be able to make something like this. And the watchmaker actually who invented this is a chap still alive today called Kurt Klaus.
Right.
And he revolutionised the complicated watch because everything can be set by moving the crown.
But can I just say, not easily.
No,
right?
no, you've got to spend a bit of time.
Coincidentally, I have bought pretty much exactly the same watch, the Da Vinci IWC, recently, about 6 weeks ago. And we didn't know this until we got together today. I haven't spoken to Jonathan for weeks, and he didn't know I'd bought one. So I'm a recent convert to this watch. But it scares the living daylights out of me because it does so much stuff. How it does it in that little case, it is mind-boggling. And you're going to be tested in a minute as to how much this watch is worth. But just before you tell us a bit about the inventor, you can still buy basically this watch today, can't you, new?
Yes, you can buy the mechanism in a different form by IWC. They've moved on from this sort of hinge lugs, which I love. I think it's part of the feature.
Well, it's classic kind of 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
But tell us how much the equivalent new watch from IWC. So we're giving you tips all the way along here for you to come up with the right valuation. How much would it cost today, brand new?
Roughly about £25,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Something like that.
Okay.
And going back to the setting issue,
go on.
Really what you need to do is set it once.
Right.
And then buy a watch winding box. And
yes.
Come across them.
Yes.
So it'll rotate.
Yeah.
Put it at the bedside, it'll just keep it wound. So you set it once and then away you go. You don't have to worry about it too much.
Well, that's exactly what I've done with this watch.
Yeah.
So would you say that with a complicated watch like this, they're just better to be moving all of the time?
Yes, you can keep an eye on it that way as well. Yeah. So if there is a problem, you'll see it quicker and get it dealt with if it needs a service, etc.
So for about 70 quid, you can buy a really good watch winder.
They come right down in price. Yeah, I'd recommend them.
Oh, they're fantastic. And it's really a nice thing. It's almost like a piece of art because you've got a lovely watch like an IWC rotating around. Yeah. And it's almost like moving sculpture, isn't it?
It is. And some of the boxes are like a piece of art themselves now, and they have different things that they can put onto them and make them out of wonderful wood. So yeah, you can really, it depends what you want to do with it, but you can really go down different arms with that.
Okay, so remember, 25 grand plus brand new for the equivalent. Go on, you were saying about the designer.
Well, Kurt Klaus, so he's just really made everything adjustable on the crown, which you might take for granted. But before that, with a watch like this, you'd have to be using little pushers to keep prodding the moon phase to move that. And it was really difficult in cases were getting damaged. So he solved all the problems. And then with this watch, he even put this button on here, which means that it's got a split second rattrapant chronograph, so you can split the minute. So
Right.
that in itself is a big complication, and to
Yeah.
put it all onto this watch as well
Yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
one of the most complicated watches in the world.
So it's a super complication.
It is, but it's watchmaking art at its best.
Okay, so a super complicated watch, 25, 30 grand, brand new. Now then, you said that these are under the radar.
Completely under the radar, yes. People just, as I say, if you watch a Patek Philippe from the same period,
Yeah,
slightly less complication,
yeah.
is about £100,000 now, which would have probably cost you about 40,000 back then.
Okay, and say a Rolex Daytona bought at the same time, 25, 30 years ago, for the similar sort of money, is worth what today?
About 25,000
Okay.
would have been the El Primero
Yeah.
one.
So, okay, we're giving you some top tips out here on how to value this watch. So, Jonathan says they're completely under the radar. So, is this a good watch to be buying now?
It is. You can keep it for a long time as well, because there is one little flaw to it,
Go on.
that in 2199,
What do you mean 2199?
160,
The year 2199.
yes,
All
yeah,
right.
the sync of the days go out by one. So
Right.
your century and year calendar will be out in
Okay.
178 years.
I mean, is
Which
that
I
something
would
that
type
you
by
lose
then.
any sleep about these days, Jonathan? Yeah, seriously.
No, not at the moment, because they've sorted it
How?
in this little tiny piece in this little glass file
Right.
is the adjustment that you'll need in 178 years.
Okay, so IWC provided it with the watch.
Yes, just to get over that little problem.
I mean, seriously, that is a company that is literally making something to last forever. So they're giving you a part for
Yes.
you to keep with your watch,
Yeah.
that in 200 years' time, whoever owns a watch will fit to the watch to keep it running
Yes.
perfectly.
Yeah,
It's bonkers beyond belief. Right.
it is.
Put your
Genius.
answers down below. How much do you think that watch is worth today? Bear in mind, Jonathan here, watch expert, reckons it is completely under the radar. So, over to Jonathan. Jonathan, how much is an IWC 18 carat?
With this complication, we've got it on at £15,000.
15 grand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Without that, you can even get them for less, as you know yourself.
Yeah, I know. Well, exactly, yeah. So what you're saying is my watch, because it doesn't have that fourth button, is not as good as your watch.
This is more for the anorak, like me. Whereas that is for everybody.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's an every man watch, IWC.
Absolutely.
So let us know how you did. £15,000 under the radar. Okay, that's the end of episode 1. Come back for episode 2, where we're going to be talking about...
Military watches. If you've got anybody in your family that's been in the military, just check in the drawers, just see if there's an old black dial military watch in there. They can be worth thousands.
Well, these are the real sleepers. So come
Yeah.
back for episode 2. Thanks for watching. I'm David Harper. Cheerio and goodbye from...
Jonathan Scatchard.
See you soon.
Bye.